Valdez, I just want to tell you something.
Yeah, what's that?
We just heard how to pronounce the support's ID. It's Irove.
Irove, yeah. Isn't that what you guys were calling it the other day?
I didn't know if it was Irove.
No, it's definitely Irove.
Okay.
Irove's around the support position, and, you know, this is a big, gigantic test, actually, for the side of Griffon.
Take a look at what is going on here. Starting lineup, Nahyun going to be coming out. And we have to wonder what is causing this after just one performance.
Yeah, one shot, one opportunity, and then you're cut.
Now, this happened before where Ucal disappeared from a team for seemingly reasons unknown. It happened with Afrika a long time ago. Now, it is only game one, but it is so strange to me, given that he was considered a high-profile signing. He came in to actually replace this player, and now, all of a sudden, we're back here. Now, they are on red side, so maybe there's some sort of a specific counter pick that Nahyun could be looking to play or something. Maybe Azir is going to end up coming out. How about that, Valdez? No? A little too far-fetched?
Only if we get Corky alongside of it.
Get out.
Then I'll be okay. You know how I feel about Corky alongside Azir. Always a lot of fun. Nahyun, though, he can bring in those weird picks, as you were talking about, stuff that nowadays would be considered out of the meta. Back in the day, used to be super normal, and he was good at that kind of thing. So I feel like he did thrive in that kind of environment. But nowadays, I'm not so sure exactly where Nahyun stands. So it's a big test for him. It's a big test for Griffon overall. You were talking about Tarzan as a player. Where does he stand after kind of a shaky performance against Afrika? And where is everybody else? You know, can Viper actually make this bottom lane with a new support in Irove actually work? Whereas on the side of Gen.G, they were able to take the win over KT, but that first game against KT was not the cleanest, if you will. So Gen.G having their own kind of growing pains coming into the first week here of 2020 LCK, as we are going into the first game of this matchup here. Gen.G on blue.
See how the draft is going to unfold. We're looking to see if Griffon is going to keep going for the scaling types of team compositions and how Gen.G is going to look to approach this. Please let me see Soraka today, Valdez. One time, that's all I'm looking for. Talia being banned away, I think.
You saw Soraka in the ban window. There you go. LS, he's really angry right now. He's literally speechless. He's fuming. You guys
literally
don't even
seething.
Know. Yeah.
And definitely a little salty right now after seeing these bans.
Yumi's still available. It's not the same, I understand, but we can have one healing support.
I can't quite read his lips, but I can't tell if Tarzan was just really frustrated with something that he just said. But his facial expression gave me the vibe that he's agitated. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading a little too much into it. As Mordekaiser does bite the dust, is this lining up for... Is lining up for Set to get first picked?
I mean, I'm set for that. If they do want to go for that kind of ban, I'm ready to do it. And there you go. Set is going to be banned right off the bat as Ornn first pick. Okay. So we have something for you here, Ellis. We knew you were a little bit angry with Soraka getting banned, but...
There's my favorite Redbeard.
Yeah, B1.
Over there, yeah. B1 Ornn. Griffon now responding by hovering Aphelios. And we'll see what they want to pair that with. And also, what is Sword actually going to play up in top lane here against the Ornn with Soraka and Mordekaiser and Set banned away? As Griffon probably just want to respond jungler here. Usually the common 1-2 punch. And Elise, so already not opting to go into the scaling type of play. So Gen.G could already acknowledge that Griffon is committed at least one champion to a pretty volatile playstyle, as they're hovering Xinjiao. It's been a very long time since we've seen this champion.
Yeah.
And he just actually put on some armor and aged 30 years as
30 years?
I mean, what?
Griffon's not
come on.
that old.
Look at his nasolabial folds, along with
What?
What
did you just say?
Right?
His
Valdez.
nasolabial folds?
Yeah, that's these lines. That's what they're called.
Oh, is that where you get those wrinkles?
Yeah.
I call those nose wrinkles.
Yeah. All right, whatever. Zoe ended up being. Is that Tryndamere?
They keep hovering it, you know?
So
there's a reason behind that. There has to be.
I don't know what it is with the Tryndamere. I genuinely don't really know. Now, I will say this. One game I had Rascal on my team on Tryndamere. Sword was on set. Sword wasn't happy. That's all I'm going to say. So I don't know if that is possibly what the Tryndamere hover is about.
Maybe.
Because maybe they've actually met many more times outside of that game and Rascal's played Tryndamere, but I'm not sure. Tryndamere, I actually think, is in a fantastic spot right now. The problem is teammates will not want to play around him. This is a problem that many teams have with Kale, Kassadin, champions that need a lot of time. Generally, getting the other 4 teammates to agree.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean,
because everyone wants to be center of attention.
The word agree does not exist on solo queue. Summoner's Rift, whereas maybe it can in pro play. Look at that! Tryndamere ban! It's a real thing.
All right, well.
You don't usually just throw away a ban there. There has to be a reason.
Tryndamere, for a lot of people that don't know, he's not a bad champion at all. In fact, I would say that he's actually probably S tier. If you are really, really good at him, the champion is so obnoxious, so strong, and he has so many options that some of the other split pushers just don't have right now. He's very akin to Fiora as well, where even if he's 0-10, once he gets 2 items, it doesn't matter that he's 0-10. Champions like that are really gross. Just want to point that out, and I love it.
So it's like in the line of Soraka?
Oh, well, Soraka doesn't want to fall behind, but she's still useful if she does. So, Griffon here with a pure Sin team composition, honestly. They're going to need a mage, I think, to come in here, because I don't think that you want only Elise as the source of magic damage for your team, but it looks like they want to go with Nami. This could be a Philios top lane against Ornn, by the way, and then Lucian ADC with Aatrox in mid, I guess, against the Zoe, but looks like they're doing some swaps. We're going to find out what it's going to be at the end, but Gen.G's team composition is just so good. Griffon's is... I don't even... honestly, I have no idea what to make out of this. This is straight out of solo queue. You know, like the poster for that movie, which is straight out of Compton? You ever see that movie?
Actually, I did, yeah.
Did you? Okay.
That is one movie that I have seen.
We need a tan to
You
draw
found one.
A straight out of solo queue.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, man, there's so many things you can do with that.
This team composition is win by 10 minutes or just lose the game. Just go next. And I have to really wonder why, because Ucal is known for his mechanical ability. So why is Nahan being...
Isn't Nahan like a former big Lucian player? Like, didn't he used to play a lot of Lucian?
He does play a lot of Lucian, and I think that a lot of Western viewers, especially if you're new to watching the LCK here, you might think of Nahan when he was on his massive loss streak in the West. But truth be told, I put Nahan at the best mid laner under Faker, below Chovy, Showmaker, Ucal, of course. So I put Nahan at like 5th, actually above BDD in 2019. So he's not slouching. He's improved so much. He's definitely very good, which is also why it's so surprising Ucal was brought in to replace him, and now he's not debuting.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting to see that happen. So either way, guys, we have the game all loaded up, as it will be Gen.G up against Griffon, hopping onto the Rift. Match 8, game number 1. Let's get it going. No fan chants here, guys. There is an outbreak of coronavirus in the world, and we have banned the viewers from coming in for now. Hopefully that does change eventually, and we can get our great fan chants going once again.
All right, so we'll take a look at how this game is going to transpire. Mostly, all the attention has to be on Tarzan versus Clid. Clid just has to match and counter-gank Tarzan, because by going even, they're winning. As, okay, that's a bubble.
He's going to flash afterwards, and he's super dead. I mean, there's just no way you're going to get out of that. You had to flash the stun. I mean, that's one of those things that you see in solo queue where it'll happen, and you'll get hit by it because you didn't flash it because you wanted to be greedy and save it. And then people will just question mark ping you and just be like, okay, this is over.
Yeah.
You know? You have to flash that stun. You have to know that you're going to die.
I really do like that Griffon is living up to their team composition straight out of solo queue. The Nami was alt-tabbed. Just like in solo queue.
Viper right now, well, in solo queue, normally you'd be standing still because you'd be typing expletives. You'd be typing expletives at your support. And, I mean, that's real. It's a real thing.
All right. Taking a look at all the runes across the board. Nothing too out of the norm. As bot lane.
Pretty standard.
Yeah. Bot lane's having a little slow push. Sorry about that. I had a hiccup. I did not want to hiccup into the microphone. Sword and Rascal sort of dancing with one another up here in top lane.
Where would you place Rascal? Because you talk about this Elite 4 or Elite 3, and now there's Red.
So
it's changing
the Elite 4 used to be Khan, Nuguri, Summit, and Keen. And then just below that would be Doran. And then just below that I would have put Rascal or Sword. Well, actually no, Sword would be probably below Rascal. Yeah, it would be Doran and then Rascal, but now we have the Elite 3 and then Red, which is Chovy.
Chovy.
He puts on his robe and wizard's hat. He makes his way to the top lane. Like, wait a minute, who's this?
It's me. It's Chovy.
Oh man.
I wonder if anyone would get that boomer joke. That's an old internet joke. That is really old. Yeah, robe and wizard hat, man.
I was watching one of the league survey poll thingy-majiggies. Yeah. And it turns out that a very large age demographic is between 21 and 26 for League of Legends viewers.
Yeah, it does.
Which is,
surprise me.
I mean, that makes some people older than me. So if I'm getting it.
How? No, you're.
Valdez.
You're 26.
I just turned 20. Valdez, I just turned 20. Okay.
You just turned 26, but you are 26.
Yeah, so,
right?
So if people have an earlier birthday than me, that's what I mean.
But you said like a large portion of the
No,
viewers.
not a large. No, I said some, Valdez. Come.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I have it in my mind that you're this boomer, but I always forget that you're younger than the rest of us. How old is Ejim actually?
How do I know about the boomer things more than you? I'm hipster too, I guess. I don't know.
Hipster boomer. Do we know how old Ejim is?
I want to say he's 28 or 29.
I think he might be a little bit older than that.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It would help if we had Atlas here.
Atlas would know.
Atlas would know.
Papa would be able to tell you his birthday too.
Papa would tell you all about his history in the OPL.
Papa,
like, he would tell you like 2015.
Papa would tell you his history, his birth date, time of birth. He would tell you everything.
Papa literally knows everything.
Yeah.
About anything. Okay, so we're getting an update. Thank you, G-Sun. 1994.
Oh, he's younger than. Okay. I thought he was older.
1994. Wow.
Oh, that's surprising.
What a youngin'.
Yeah.
I'll just have to tell him to get off my lawn when I cast with him for the first time. He's in like a new place. Just make him feel like really awkward. Oh boy. Well,
no. I want to point something out.
Who knows when that will happen?
Rascal went for Bommy's first item, and this is a interesting thing because when you go Bommies, you have to push, but you invest a lot of gold getting the Bommies, and you don't get that much value. You get the slight burn, which only applies if you stick to the opponent, which likely you don't, and you don't get a lot of HP. So if you do go Ruby Chain Vest, you can actually freeze the wave. And you get more HP, and you get more resistances. Now, you lose out a little bit on the burn.
What's the cost difference?
The cost difference is 300 gold.
Bommies is 900, right?
Yeah. Or
and
400 gold,
Chain
yeah.
Vest is...
Oh, well, the chain, I mean, obviously you can pick up a Chain Vest with Bommies, too.
Oh, you're talking about... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean.
So at this point in the game, we're just having ping pong, and this is not what you want to have happening if you are Griffon. The Aatrox needs to get ahead. The Elise needs to get ahead. You also see Jarvan moving towards the Bommies as well, which means that he's going to be tanked. And this is a nightmare situation because when you have Aatrox, Lucian, and Aphelios on the team, there's a lot of incentive to get Ninja Tabi on several targets. And sure, Nami and Elise are going to be dealing some magic damage, but not a whole lot. Elise is also probably going to want to get Leandri's. Now we have a gank coming in here. This is really important. If they, what was that timing?
I think it was pretty close to him being seen, but yeah, that was a strange timing on the Graviton. But I suppose he's not seeing here. The Cocoon not going to land, and Viper tanking so much damage trying to get him baited into this fight. Now we do have Jarvan. Clid waiting in the wings. He's level 6, gets the knockup. We have Zoe helping out from mid lane. It's going to be a win in the trade. And with Jarvan ahead like this, you do have to be careful with the Cataclysm online that Clid can engage. And they're making this like a whole spread out engage and invade all together as Rascal taking an awkward trade. Sword misses that final Q. Not sure.
This is the thing that I always talk about is if you're Griffon, you're the coaching staff, or you're the players, what are you thinking right now? You're thinking, well, my jungler can't gank. My jungler doesn't do anything. We're getting outscaled. I can feel that we're getting outscaled. What was I supposed to do inside a laning phase? Was I supposed to? Now, obviously, there is actually answers. There is lane manipulation that you need to be cognizant of relative to your jungler's path in order to get the lane states to be in exact locations for when the jungler arrives. That's how you steal away flashes and burn summoner spells off of the opponent. That is a really, really tall ask to do because the enemy team is also cognizant that you need to do that, and they're also pro players. So oftentimes you'll hear the comment, they're not robots. You're goddamn right they're not robots.
Yeah.
Which is why when your only obligation is to not get ganked and play lanes in a certain way to remain safe so that you get to coast freely into a super slated mid-game, yeah, it feels really good.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Sounds awesome. I wish I could have that happen.
Sit on your ass and then win it 15 minutes. Yeah, that's...
Wow.
It truly is impressive.
And that is what is happening here. There was one attempt at a gank in the bottom lane, and Tarzan's still level 5. There have been not too many opportunities for him to gank, you know, don't get me wrong.
Fellas, this game is over. Okay, I'm gonna...
Is it
really
now,
early.
or was it after the failed gank?
So,
so we can get a timestamp on this one? Just because I want to know.
I know some people really don't like when I make statements like this, and what I'm basically trying to say is that given the assumed level of play of the professional players on both sides, the amount of mistakes that Gen.G would have to make several times over is so unlikely that even if it happens once, they still have the scaling, they can recover. And then it can happen again, and then again. And because the Griffon team composition's champions are so slowed down due to nothing happening whatsoever. It's just so unnatural to assume that so many mistakes would keep happening over and over in order to cause them to lose this. So the gold score, it might only say 1,000, but also consider there's a Mountain Dragon, which normally Mountain bolsters armor the most, the stat you tend to have more of. And when all of the champions that are looking to deal damage on Griffon are physical damage and on hit, once the Ninja Tab eyes start coming in, which Jarvan likely going to pick that up, Warren already has it. A little surprising, Kellin has the Merc Treads. It's the only thing, but maybe it's because he perceives himself to be the front line that's going to get thrown in by Kalista and then hit with CCs.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like something that might not happen, so I do like the way that Gen.G are playing this very safe early on. You know, in the bottom side they know, okay, they're gonna rotate down while we put pressure on the top side. That's fine, as long as we don't die, there's no problem. We can take the trade of keeping our bottom turret alive with 2 plates and you losing your top turret. Very much so.
Yeah.
And it's been a lull state since Nami died, basically. That was the last time we had any real action in this game, and it's almost like both the teams felt forced into this line of play because of the way that the compositions line up against each other. Like, I don't know, I feel like Tarzan could have done more early on.
You know, he absolutely can, but so can the laners. But it derives from what you're saying right there. They have to do more, and they have to look for it. So the ask is on them, the responsibility is on them. But when you look at the lane matchups, outside of Lucian Zoe, there's not an awful lot of control. And when you consider how dangerous the counter ganks are that can come out from Jarvan, it's a real nightmare. So then, you keep playing the circle, and it's like, well, why would I do this to myself? And obviously, if you're a super elite team, you can choose things like this, and then you can beat lesser teams. And oftentimes we'll see this in the LCS, the LEC, or we'd see it in the LCK, where top teams could do it against Jin-Air of old. But even then, Jin-Air could drag the games out for 40 minutes. That was part of the meme. So I think it leads people to very false conclusions about drafts all too often, and especially if solo queue and scrims are influencing it, it can really plague you for a long time.
Absolutely, and there definitely is a reason why teams continue to draft the way they do. It's many different things. You know, it's comfort, it's lane matchups being prioritized over team composition. It's, you know, what works in scrims versus what doesn't, and, you know, certain stylistic measures of like, oh, my team likes to play in this manner, so we like to play these specific champions, which locks out some of the other ones. But especially because the game got off on the perfect foot for Gen.G with the first blood, and all their lanes really doing well with no ability to get any ganks going. This game, that is the reason why we are sitting here with Gen.G, with what feels like a massive lead, and now getting both dragons. They're going to pick that up easily. Griffon are just kind of sitting on their hands saying, I can't wait for this winter to be over, but kind of feels like that winter's going to end when the game ends.
It's a never-ending winter. It is. Yeah. It's always cloudy in Griffon.
And yeah, you're right on point with that one, with the Cloud Drake and the Cloud Rift. It's
now that, you know what, the Cloud Dragon is sort of a breath of fresh air, though, if you are a Griffon fan. It's not as threatening as an Infernal Soul, that's for sure. And the other thing about this is, well, you can also look at it from the angle of the Ornn is going to have the 20% added CDR to his ultimate, so if he does end up completely capping, I guess that's a little obnoxious. Usually CDR is a stat that is pretty laughable because you can always dance around it, depending on what the argument really is and what abilities it is that you're talking about. But regardless here, everything is just completely stable for Gen.G, and Griffon's only out right now is about 15 minutes away, and that's the Elder Dragon. And that's if Gen.G even allows it to spawn.
Yeah.
Gen.G could take the next Cloud Dragon and then say, okay, we're done. We don't need Elder to beat you.
Yeah.
We can even beat you without Baron because of Zoe. And Ornn just being able to dive turrets so easily in Siege.
They can get picked so nicely.
Yeah, they can do so much. So,
how far are we away from a designer comp with what Gen.G have, would you say? Is there anything you would change about what they have?
The only champion I don't personally like on it is actually the Jarvan. And that's mostly because I just think that there's other options that you could have had. You could have actually had Ornn in the jungle and then Gangplank top lane or something like that. That would give you way more scaling.
Yeah, that sounds
way
really
more
obnoxious.
Scaling.
For sure.
But I think that we are ways away from having Ornn appear in the jungle, especially in LCK.
Yeah.
Not that he can't, but has a very different play style. And again, like we talked about earlier, getting all the teammates to agree it's a task in itself.
Yeah.
In professional league.
That was one of the other things that I forgot to mention as to reasons why we may not see certain drafts or styles played by certain teams. Players might just not want to do it. As Viper and Irove are down here together, pushing against Rascal. So far they've been quite successful in terms of what they're getting there, but they're losing a lot in other places. He's gonna dodge that one, sends out a Battlestar. They pick up Shirley while pushing the mid lane. And it's not super early on in the game because it was so stale. So even if they get a couple of turrets here, not sure if this is too early or not.
I wouldn't actually mind, by the way, if Rascal ended up going Frozen Heart second, rather than going for the Abyssal Mask or something like that. I think that you can complete the Sunfire, go for the Frozen Heart, because you don't really need to consider the Elise damage, although I can understand it if he does eventually purchase the Catalyst and the Negatron, but he's been sitting on the Sunfire boots for so long. He hasn't built an item. I don't know what he's waiting on.
He's playing the mind game. He's like, if I don't buy items, then maybe the team against me won't think I'm as strong as I actually am. You ever think about that?
You know what? You can actually do that on I believe Cho'Gath at level 11, when it gives you the option to up the skill point in R. You stay level 11, and then they jump on you, and then you upgrade level 11. You get all the health.
Real? What?
Yeah, that's a little mechanic. And also, here's an Echo mechanic for you if you're an Echo player in solo queue. Don't skill your R at level 6. Just leave the point unregistered. The opponents might go on you thinking he doesn't have R.
Yeah.
Then you skill the point, the R activates. So you can really deceive people with stuff like that. It's definitely very, very good. So Cho'Gath, Echo, those are two champions I can think of that can do little cute things like that. I'm trying to think if there's other champions like that. None that are coming to my head. If anyone knows of any others, you can tweet at us. I can't think of any deceiving mechanics like that are in the game.
Yeah, not that I can really think of off the top of my head right now. As, yeah, I'm not sure how this feels as Griffon, because from minute one, they absolutely had to feel like they were down in the dumps. From the second the Nami went down and then Tarzan and their laners weren't able to put anything together, it's like, okay, well, I guess we'll see you guys next game, because I mean, we're sitting here at 20 minutes. Hopefully, you know, Gen.G throws an Elder or a Baron or something like that away. Look at this, Rascal just gonna ult here. He doesn't have any help, so he's like, I mean, we have a Cloud Drake, might as well just throw it out. We're not gonna be engaging anytime soon. I'd rather just clear this wave.
I'm not even gonna go there on Zoe's items. Whatever. So when you're sieging and poking, the enemy isn't on top of you. They don't get to heal, or even if they have healing. Now, yes, Nami has healing. Nami has a redemption, but how about you just get a death cap and you know, I can't really make a pop. I'm sorry, my throat is so. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
I can't do it either. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
That sound is probably getting
You know, just pop them.
Yeah, snap your fingers. Especially for Nami. I mean, more so than anyone else. But I mean, the Zoe can potentially do that to Nami, Philios.
No, I will say the Oblivion Orb is a really good item here. No one has magic resistance on Griffon. Okay. People always say, "Why do you hate Morello so much? It gives magic pen." No, it doesn't. Oblivion Orb gives the magic pen. Morello happens to have it as well, but if Zoe just sat on Oblivion Orb and then goes into Rabadon's Death Cap, that would do so much more in the siege and poke scenarios as well as the pick scenarios, because the damage comes in from the Paddle Star in one fell swoop. So it doesn't really matter about any sort of a healing debuff or anything of that nature, especially because Zoe's not applying it to multiple targets in a fight, and that's not how your team composition is designed to fight.
You know, LS, I think I figured it out.
Also, it's an Ornn item, so.
Yeah,
you know.
Building an Ornn item, probably a good idea. You may want to do that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And I was going to make a joke about inventory slots because she has two, you know. But I figured, you know, we've been there, done that.
Why is Aphelios pushing out the wave? I don't know. He's got somewhere to be right now.
Well, I mean, it's winter, you know. You're trying to do everything to stop from freezing.
Okay.
You know what you mean?
He's trying to plow his driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
But what he doesn't know is that Kalista's about to plow right through him.
So when you're living, especially in the U.S., I don't know about other places, but you're like legally required, I believe, to shovel your own sidewalk.
Yes.
That's like outside of your house.
Rhode Island is like that.
That's like Philios. He doesn't have anywhere to go in his car, but he still has to plow the driveway. Or not the driveway, but he gets to the driveway anyway because he will have to go somewhere eventually. So I think I figured it out. That's why he's clearing the waves.
Warren with the ornament upgrades. Here we go.
All right, we got one big team fight coming on in. It is going to zone them off the turret. And props to Gen.G. They don't have to go super deep. They don't have to force it. They did the right thing.
We were talking about this. This is the way that they fight. They siege a turret with Ornn and Zoe. Look to get something. If they do, they march on. They don't, they back up.
Yeah, that's it.
And if Griffon wants to try to get a little, they want to get a little cheeky and cast World Ender on Aatrox and try to run in with a Nami ultimate, Tarek is just gonna, he's gonna raise his hand. Put an end to that real quick.
Yeah. That'll be the end of you.
Let's take a look here at what ends up happening. Zoe comes over, throws out the bubble onto Aphelios. And they didn't get anything, but they did get the turret, and they don't need to get anything. And I love games like this. It might be very boring to the viewers. And if it is boring, well, I don't know. Make fun of Valdez. But if it is boring, the reason that it's exciting is because you get to see both team compositions in their true pure forms. And we get to see how weak one is actually compared to the other.
You just like it because it's proving you right.
No.
LS was right the whole time. Wow, look at this smarty pants.
You're an So, 20 seconds until Cloud Drake ends up coming up. And this is going to be the Cloud Soul, by the way.
Yep.
As Griffon, you can't do anything.
Or an ult's available
Your comp
again.
Sucks.
Yep.
God.
I thought you loved this kind of game.
I do.
You sound like you're in physical pain.
I really, I just like watching good League of Legends. And when you get comps like this, it's not good League of Legends.
But you do like the way that Gen.G is playing.
I do like how Gen.G's playing.
Because they're playing
That's
it perfectly.
good League of Legends.
Yeah. What else would they do?
Which is why the game is really fun to talk about, because they're piloting it the way that they're supposed to. Now, this isn't.
Oh boy. Well, this is just kind of desperation right now. As Cloud Drake is up, that's a 3-man knockup, and we got Tarek, and they're looking at Kalista just hopping around like a happy little bunny, gonna take it down. Ornn, meanwhile, just gonna take out the Baron. That's not even with a smite, as this is just absolute disaster for Griffon as Gen.G are piling it on.
Neha needs to be a little manner right now and head on over to the Callista for the pentakill.
Yeah, where are you going, buddy?
I don't know, he's going over the Wolves.
They might be going to the bench after this game.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Neha. It's not your fault.
All right.
I just felt like throwing some shade because
Well, I mean,
this game has been very one-sided.
Oh, man. Well, it might be Ucal coming in here for game number 2, as it really is looking like all she wrote. Gen.G are playing it so slow and methodical. I really like to see it. I can't reiterate that enough. This is a very enjoyable game.
Just watch Baker, or not Baker, Ruler in this fight. Let's go in. I'm gonna use Flash. And he did. And you can't really blame him for that one. It's probably gonna be another 5 minutes until the next fight comes up anyway.
BDD now going for the death cap, and again, a really nice thing that he did. He bought an elixir, didn't have enough gold for the death cap, buys the elixir to get as much firepower for the end game fight. If you're playing a solo queue game or something, you're on an amateur team, whatever, before an end game fight, if you know it's going to be the last one, do whatever you can to get as much power. Major neutral objective that's going to change the face of the game, do whatever you can, buy elixir, stunt your build temporarily, because if you lose that objective, you're probably going to lose anyway. But in this instance, obviously, BDD knows that, okay, I'm not going to reach Rabadon's death cap. Let me just get as much ammo as I can for this fight, as Sword is, well...
he saw this before in another game, and he figured he'd try it out as well. Yep, the game is over, guys, as Tarek Ultimate is coming on in, and there is absolutely nothing that Griffon do unless they die in the fountain. And that will not happen here, as that will be the end of this one. I don't really know who to give the MVP to be honest, because...
The draft.
Yeah, I don't know. That's who I would give it to. Nobody really stood out in a big way.
No one... This is an MVP that is completely up in the air.
Yeah. You know, the camera went to Ruler. Let's give it to Ruler.
He didn't do anything. I guess, realistically, it's Clid. It has to be Clid just because of the early game. Nothing ended up happening, but he found himself up in levels. And he was also there, if you remember, to jump on Elise. I would feel really gross if Ruler simply gets it on the onus that he got a quadra kill around the Baron that Griffon had no business
you know it's
starting.
Coming. You know
I already know that it's coming. You know what? Can I just do a non? Can I do a
you
non
don't have to vote. I'll vote for good old Clid.
Great. The guy. There's no MVP.
The guy's not happy.
The guy collecting the MVP votes.
He's so angry.
Not happy right now.
Yeah. It's like, that's impossible. What? There can't be no MVP. But it's true. I mean, there really was no MVP of that game. Even Clid, I mean, he was just...
I would give it to Clid, but I don't know, like, I would feel bad if some vote that I did swing something.
Yeah.
Because it should just have a lot of random points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watch me get in trouble for this. I don't even know. Get in trouble for doing my job. I like.
You'll be fine. Look at this Viper. He never stood a chance. This composition was just disgusting, to be honest.
Really, if there was a way to give it to the coach, I would. If we believe that the coach is always the one drafting, which isn't always the case, but if there was a way to allocate MVP points towards something like that, I would definitely do so.
Yeah, I thought about giving it to BDD as well, because it felt like he was doing the most, but that's just kind of Zoe things, you know? Like, she's always going to be hopping around, bouncing around. Doesn't really mean that she was doing the most in the game. But either way, guys, big draft win for Gen.G. in game number 1. And unfortunately, not much else. Hopefully, game number 2 brings us some more interesting League of Legends and maybe even some Soraka for Love Soraka. We'll be back after this break. Well, there you have it. As that might be the lowest amount of votes that any MVP has gotten so far at 5. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. You know, it was just so hard because I feel like they all voted for Kellin because he found Nami in the jungle and got first blood. Like,
yeah, but why
is that really
Zoe
a play of the game?
Right. That's what I mean. I feel like there's a lot more in juggling everything. And honestly, I mean, Tarzan arriving and EQing Elise, I think, is a little bit more of a display of talent.
Yeah, you know?
It's definitely very bizarre to me. So
yeah, it's just one of those games that you would actually like to abstain from voting, you know, or vote for the draft. You know, maybe we could make that an option in the future. Although I feel like you just you would just go for that every single game.
And my takes on what if a player gets all unanimous votes, it should add extra points.
Well, it's hard because sometimes it's just that everybody else did not much of anything, and they might have just.
Yeah, that's
fine.
I
mean, but it doesn't mean that you were amazing. It just means that you were better than everybody else. So.
What?
Yeah, but you know, like that's what normal MVPs get anyway.
Stop, Boomer. I can't.
What are you talking about?
I actually can't.
That's what normal MVPs would receive anyway. As BD is having a moment to think about how good he was in game number 1. Ucal's coming in. Didn't mention it. It was on screen, but of course I felt like that was definitely going to happen, even though it wasn't Nathan's fault again that they lost. But, you know, might as well give him a chance as well. Clid, he's smiling that we are the only 2 that voted for him. He's like, yeah, English Cast has got my back, as always.
Well, let's see how game number 2 can go for Griffon. You know, the games where they actually seem stable were the ones where their team composition didn't have to win the game in 10 minutes. So
weird.
Yeah, it's really weird how that works sometimes. But let's see what the second draft of the game is going to have in store. And I just want to point out, by the way, that Honey T is a savior.
Yeah, you've come back to life.
I really have, yeah.
It's like you got rezzed by Soraka.
I think that I did get a W or 2.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, actually, that was just G-Sun that came up here and gave me the T, but.
I'm kidding. You never need 2 Soraka W's to get full HP. Like.
True.
All right.
Yeah, well.
Mordekaiser in the window to land the door. As Griffon gonna decide what to ban next. Lee Song gonna be banned away as Akali bites the dust. This is very fast.
Oh, you know. Soraka was second ban for Gen.G in game 1.
I always do this, by the way. Ucal does not look amused, happy, or ecstatic, anything. Maybe I read too much into facial expressions and stuff, but definitely does not seem in a very great or lively mood. Neither did Tarzan, so I don't know.
Neither does BDD. I mean, I think they're just focusing right now on the pick ban.
Yeah, that could be it. That could definitely be it.
For now, I mean, if Ucal gets like a kill or 2,
I can pick Ornn. Oh, Set.
No, he can pick Set. He's happy because he got to pick Set.
Let me see the Tryndamere.
Ornn Tryndamere?
Yeah.
Ornn in the jungle, or Ornn mid.
Could be Ornn mid.
You can save the Tryndamere.
Tryndamere does have 2 potential really good Ornn items. I mean, he can also get Trinity Force for his Ornn upgrade.
Yeah, but you're not going to pick it yet. You got to take Helios.
Tryndamere does beat Set. It is a really, really brutal matchup. Now, Ornn can beat Set, not in laning phase, but at level 2, Ornn can stagger his damage and play things out in a way that he can at least go even with them. And then obviously the ornaments come in and give the team lots of stats for free. So definitely very nice. As Griffon, J4 and Misfortune now going to be picked up. As Gen.G now, they're going to decide what they want to do. I mean, supports are wide open, so picking support and then pinching is probably not the most ideal, but doesn't mean that it won't end up happening. Okay, Rek'Sai, so for the vacuum counter against Jarvan, but we've seen this. T1 did the same exact thing. They drafted several champions into set that allows him to work his theme and enable it. So this is a little bit surprising that they chose another champion like this. Now they're going to ban away the Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, they can hopefully mix in some other champions that do go against Set's theme for picks 4 and 5. But the Rek'Sai did feel like they wanted to pick jungle, so they didn't have any other picks pinched here in the second ban phase to go up against the Jarvan. And as you mentioned, a vacuum counter there in the jungle. LeBlanc taken away. We have mids potentially, although we could see the Ornn flex, maybe even the Set flex.
Set, yeah, able to go mid lane.
Yeah.
If need be. Now, last time we saw Tryndamere ban in phase 2. Galio gonna actually be banned away. This is something I talked about on stream a little while ago. Jarvan jungle, Galio mid, Set top. That is a wombo like no other.
That's Monka W right
yeah,
there.
that is a
I'm
really
scared.
That's a really Monka W.
Just thinking
Set
about it.
just R's forward into the enemy team, Galio follow up, and then if Set can't be the one to do it, Jarvan can.
Yeah, having
with the
multiple
EQ.
outs.
Yep.
That's always good in a game where nothing is perfect.
And Zoe, they're going to counterpick support, and I don't mind this if they really do utilize the counterpick support. I swear, Valdez, if I see something like a Braum on 5, a Braum Tom Nautilus.
Braum Tom Nautilus.
I am.
Here it comes. Your favorite champion,
No,
Braum
on
Tom
R5,
Nautilus.
R5.
I know. I'm saying it's coming eventually.
That's a very nice counter matchup
Yeah.
for Ucal.
That's what happens when you show
All
the
right.
mid.
Okay.
They're taking away the Braum.
Zyra one time. If Braum gets locked in. Or any mage, really.
How about Brand?
Brand's fine.
I like Brand. I'm
Any
a
mage.
big fan of Brand.
Any mage. Any single mage, Kellin. Lock it in. Anyone. Zillion. That's great. Yes! There's hope.
There you
Valdez.
go. It happened.
There's hope in the
You got
LCK.
It happened once.
When these
One
sinners
time.
who pick Braum first blind
Yeah.
get punished. Oh, it's absolutely great. This is fantastic. So, Gen.G with another vastly superior scaling team composition with insane amount of poke and mix-ups with the Bard, the Ornn, and the Zoe.
You must be a really big fan of Gen.G's drafting so far.
Oh, these two games, I think, have even outdone... Oh, it's actually kind of hard to outdo that Soraka Yuumi. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
Actually,
true.
it's making me, I'm sweating just thinking about it. Give me a second here. Hold on. But it's really close.
Yeah, no, I understand. And Gen.G, I think they still have like the same coaching staff from what I can tell. You know, Edgar's still there. They have, you know, same supporting coaches. From what I can tell, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, just adapting well to this meta that I know you've been talking about a lot in the current 2020 meta. But we're taking a look here at compositions. What do you think about Griffon's comp this time around?
So Griffon's team composition is much more mid-rangey. They don't really start getting completely blasted by Gen.G until the mid into late transition. That's where things are going to really swing over. All eyes need to be on Syndra, because if Syndra can get ahead, which Ucal is supposed to in this matchup, then things can definitely get a little unstable. But Bard, he's a mage support that he's able to build tank and act as an assassin. It's really cool. What a great champion. As we do not have fan chance, we're going to jump right into game number 2. And to compound on it, remember, the solo XP lane changes means that Bard was indirectly buffed, because anytime he leaves his laner now, they are getting a little bit more value than they were last season. So Bard being able to also get a lot of value from the chimes, and then the nerfs to the jungles means that Bard got a lot of help in Season 10.
Yeah.
And so, also, the way that the enemy team is going to itemize, they will have some magic resistance, but this is just really great. Valdez. This
You're
is
just
actually, happy. I'm in a good mood.
Yeah. Hey,
I
it's
feel
been
like
2 good drafts in a row.
I feel like some of the drafts really just drained my soul. I felt like I was at Azkaban, the Dementors,
yeah.
you know?
But,
oh,
like, the last game was kind of in the middle, right? Because there was one that was really great, and then there was one that was really kind of bad.
Yeah, but I got to see it get punished, so that's sort of like when the protagonist shows up.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, that's like when Goku comes down from the sky or something.
Yeah, of course. Goku, I know who that is.
You know who Goku is?
Yeah, I do.
Are you sure? What's his real name?
What do you mean? Oh, it's probably like Gohan or something.
I can't. Just leave.
Or maybe it's Vegeta. I know there's like 3 different characters that are like really big in the universe, but I don't really know their significance.
Do you know Majin Buu?
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Isn't he adorable?
Is that the pink guy?
Yeah, the really...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, my cousin was really into Dragon Ball Z, so I know some things, actually.
Majin Buu is very cute. Very fluffy.
Yeah. What about those Android characters?
Android 17 and 18 are pretty fan favorites. 16 was pretty cool. And then...
oh, I thought there were only 2.
No, there's a lot. There's also Android 20. He was he's the guy in solo queue that says that he's a Smurf.
And then he rages at his team the whole time when,
then
he goes like 1-1.
Then there's a pro player on a Riot account in the game, and then he starts performing really badly, and the pro player calls him out and knows that he's not a Smurf. It's one of those situations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Android 20.
Interesting. I played one of those DBC fighting games. As you're talking about getting early leads here for the Syndra, well, they get the flash out of it, but no follow-up there, as BDD did also have to heal to get away from the Jarvan, so it's a very nice early gank to get things rolling for the Syndra.
Now, Sword is down XP in top. A little bit bizarre. And, yeah, like what we just saw in mid lane, the Zoe losing both of her summoners. That's the lane that we have to look at. It's the one that is going to dictate how the entire early and mid game will end up occurring. Sword is going to Haymaker. I don't know what you're doing building right there, Rascal. He's trying to be a little Rascal right there.
Yeah.
Building right in front of his face.
Living up to his name.
And also, this is not the set nerf patch where the Haymaker cooldown is increased.
Yeah, I wonder how things are going to change when we do get the new patch, and when we will get the new patch here in Korea. I believe it should be
next week.
Next week,
yeah.
Because it did come out before the Wednesday, I think it was,
yes.
Right? So, yeah. Okay, well, early game, I think, inevitably, between these two teams is going to be a little bit, you know, down. We did have that early gank on the Zoe, so that was one good thing for the side of Griffon, trying to get Syndra going, as you were mentioning. But other than that, just farming it out. I'm looking towards Tarzan to do a little bit more in this game as well, be a little bit more active. As game number 1, he was on Elise, and he did a lot of nothing, really. A nice ward placement here to spot out Clid, but Clid actually reads it and is able to sweep it out.
Rascal's in a bit of a weird spot where they don't exactly know where Jarvan is yet, and so he's very low on mana. They're about to actually find out, though. Kellin, Bard's a cool champion.
Oh, man, he's out of there. Just like that. Didn't take him very long, as he just flashes to the wall, and then he takes a nice little magical journey.
Look at Bard, man.
Yeah.
What a lovely big ball of banana ice
so
cream.
Is he kind of like Majin Buu? Is that his name? Yeah, he's kind of like him, but he's like gold.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
It's really great.
See, I made a DBZ reference.
Yeah.
I'm hip.
Look at him. He is so cute. Oh my god. If you're a Bard player and you're watching this game, I hope that you feel very good.
Wasn't there like a caster, maybe it was Rusty, who's like a big Bard player. Someone really loves Bard. I forget who it is. I would always just see it on Twitter. Like,
yeah, Rusty.
Yeah, I think it is Rusty.
Rusty is a Bard player. There's also quite a few Bard one-tricks in Korea. Now, this champion is also busted, by the way. This champion is actually S+ tier.
Okay.
And we just haven't seen it for a very long time. Now, he's also
we see
one
it in
of
other
the
regions, though.
Bard is easily one of the most difficult supports in the game. And so that's usually probably why we won't be seeing it that often. Takes a lot of time to get good at and to really stand out on. If you just play Bard to play Bard and use his kit on basic, surface level play, it's not as good as when you're really good at Bard. So there's a lot of skill expression that the champion has, and that's also why he's so exciting as a support champion. It's very akin to Lee Sin or to Thresh, but even in different ways. Thresh, it feels like, has a much more straight-up identity of what he needs to do, and Bard has a lot of different ways of being creative because of his magical journey and the angles on Cosmic Binding.
Yeah.
But also, look at these hot cocos he gives you. What a lovely guy.
I like the one with the sugar cube. Oh, they both have sugar cubes.
They both have sugar cubes.
Yeah, they both, okay,
yeah, when it levels up.
Yeah, right.
Bard's hot cocoa ages like fine wine.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the sugar cube slowly falls into the cup.
Look at that. Look at that glass. I mean, the decoration on it is just... Okay,
it's
you know what,
green
Brom?
And Christmassy.
Brom is being
you
a little...
just call him Bum?
No, Brom.
Brom the Bum.
That little chunky monkey eating Bard's hot cocoa. Look at him.
He can't get enough.
Santa had a little too much to eat today. He's wondering where the cookies were to go with it. Oh my god.
I like how they're both wearing, like, Christmas skins. I assume that Bard's skin is a Christmas skin.
Yeah, it's a Snow Day skin. Which is really good, and the chroma, it looks really nice. The original is blue. Okay. And if you don't have that, you can get it in the Riot store.
Oh,
for a certain amount of
where
RP.
can you find that?
Inside the client.
Oh.
Definitely a must-have.
You guys might want to check that out. Hashtag ad. Not really, though. We're ad-free here on the LCK, unfortunately.
Well,
yeah. When do you think is the last champion like a Bard or a Lee Sin to come out? That was like...
Zoe. Yeah.
You're going to make a lot of people angry. Okay, well, going in here on the Ucal, he's going to actually miss the slow, but it doesn't matter as Clid has the follow-up, as does Zoe. Their reach as a duo is pretty insane, and you got to see that there as even the blasting plant couldn't get Ucal to safety, and first blood going to go Gen.G's way.
Wait, who would you think would be?
No, I mean, I would say Zoe as well. It's just that a lot of people,
I like Zoe. Actually, I'm about to get the broadcast muted really quick, but personally, I think certainly T is an insane designer. I actually like all of his champions. We take a look at his replay. Right here, Clid with that ultimate, able to...
There's a lot of chatter going on there in that team. They're really talking a lot, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it's something you would expect with any team that has ruler on it, but seems like the whole lot of them were really getting in there and chatting it up. Always interesting to see which teams like to chat, which teams don't. But now Griffon trying to shoot back and fire back, take the blue away. But, I mean, it's a blue for a potential Rift Herald that is going down here to the side of Gen.G.
Set right now, building Black Cleaver. Not going to be the Trinity Force. Jarvan also going Tank Jarvan, so not going to be dealing a whole lot of physical damage either. And there's a Syndra on the team, so again, the question becomes, how much are you really offering by building that item first? Other than that, we can see Rascal bombing Cinder into Catalyst for pure sustain. Lane swap initiated by Gen.G. And so now I think they're slow pushing.
Yeah.
They're denying some CS.
A little bit.
Ucal is down in XP, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he died. He probably had a wave or half a wave.
Yeah, I mean,
from
by
him
a lot. BDD is 9.4.
Yeah, that's true. He does have a wave.
You know what I would actually really like on this XP graph? There's one way I could imagine that it could be better. It would be to have little, like, percentages, 10%,
yeah, like markings and stuff as to where it is.
There's a word for that isn't marker. I just forget what it is called. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're lost with me.
Yeah.
You're not finding any help here?
It actually reminds me of, do you know what the ends of your shoelaces is called? Yeah, there's a word for it. Like the plasticky part?
Yeah,
yeah
I forget.
Now,
I used to know it.
Yeah. That is...
This is where you tell me and then I'm like, oh yeah.
I don't know it. I'm equally as frustrated.
Oh. Huh.
I know that I have known it, and that's the awkward part.
I don't know. Well.
Clid.
Just two NA boys on the broadcast. This is what you're going to get. A lot of cluelessness. We're just lost all the time. What are we going to do?
Okay, Valdez.
Yeah, what's up?
When was the 4th of July?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Pepe laugh.
What, he doesn't know? Pepe laugh? Is there, what is this, like a riddle?
There are people that they don't say July 4th.
What do you mean? What do they say?
Something else.
Oh, Independence Day?
No. They'll say a different date. Just look it up on YouTube. It's awful.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh man, I don't even like. That's even a level beyond my. Like,
yeah. So let's talk about what is going on though. We have a siege in mid. Bot tier 2 turret just got shredded. Ornn is still 3 levels away from getting any of his Ornn upgrades, but very much like game number 1, the laners on Griffon not getting any advantages, and remember, Syndra was the only one that could, and after Zoe had nothing going on, the follow-up play by everyone around the map, nothing was achieved. Sword was living in front of Rascal's turret, never pulling the wave on his side, so they could do the QE dog down that Set is so good at doing, where you position the minions in front of your turret, and then Ornn is trying to get a crash. You use the Q movement speed to get between Ornn and the minions and then respond to the E. And if Ornn doesn't bellow his breath in response to it, he gets pulled in, you stand in front of him, he tries to E away, and then you chase him down with Conqueror stacks, do a lot of damage, repeat it, try to kill him with the Superplex later on. But we never saw that. We saw Sword consistently mismanaging his laning phase, even if he did manage to accrue a very slight advantage early on. Bottom lane, well, there really wasn't all that much that they could do by themselves. And even though Tarzan got Kellin's flash, he got BDD's heal and flash as well, nothing much really came from it. And so now we're about to be back into a lull state. 3.5 minutes until Infernal Dragon. Hold on though, as Ucal and maybe Sword looking for something. There's no reason to fight. Rascal identifies that.
Yeah.
I am excited right
You're
now.
digging this Gen.G team right now. Yeah, they're just playing really smart League of Legends. And they're playing Gen.G style as well, you know, laid back, scaling. This is kind of what we know and love from Gen.G. And as I mentioned, same coaching staff from what I remember. And why not? I mean, they've always been pretty good, and they're doing quite well so far. It's still early on, but we've been liking what we've been seeing. As they did try to rotate into mid and punish that bot push by chipping down the mid tier 1. No real objectives on the map right now. No Shirley yet, no Infernal Drake, so it's just going to be a bunch more posturing in this one. Mid lane did not go the way that Griffon were hoping. They were really hoping for the Syndra to get ahead early, to get some ganks. He got the one gank, and then I don't know what happened after that. Nothing else really happened, so it just ended up being Zoe with the help of Clid actually picking up the kill and having a great lane from there.
We're getting ping pongs now, and you've heard me talk about it ad nauseum on the broadcast.
Why don't you call it tennis next time? Just mix it up.
I like how you're thinking about this stuff. You know what? I don't like that.
This is what they paid me for.
I don't like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you like how I was thinking
I like
creatively?
Well, I don't like it because you thought of it.
Oh, okay. But you like what I'm doing.
You know, it just doesn't really seem to fit, actually. And what we see happening right here, though, is that Syndra is playing badminton with Ornn. So, nothing is really going to...
Wow. Good one. It's really nice.
I had to raise the net a bit. You
wow.
know what I mean? Yeah.
You're so funny, Ellis.
Thank you. As Syndra resumes the volleyball practice up in top lane, she's going to push that wave right back into Ornn, and then, hold on, he's going to push it back into her. Here we go. Ready? QE. Oh, she mixed it up on me. I wasn't ready for that.
Just a Q and an auto.
Yeah.
Just, you know, trying to save that mana.
Now, Ornn can't freeze because of Sunfire Cape, but Syndra could freeze. And when you're losing, and when you need to draw the opponents to you, and there's no neutral objective on the map, there's no reason to have vision around left side river or even right side river because of the way of approach for Griffon. You can freeze, create a neutral objective, command the opponent come to you, and instead we're having ping pong. So if you're wondering why we're talking about table tennis, volleyball, and badminton.
Yeah, racquetball. I think that's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give that one to you. I will, you know.
We won't include the ones that are like where you bounce stuff off the wall, like squash or like handball or something. That doesn't count.
What do you think is the most important role in baseball?
Well, it's hard.
Hold on.
Kellin had to flash into this. He is... Why did he die? He didn't die for so long. He did huge burst damage. On top of that set, Tarzan gonna have to stopwatch in here, but look at that poke that's coming out already. Syndra doing a nice job stunning people up, but down will go the health bar of MF, but Set Sword trying to bring in Rascal. But in goes Clid into that backline, and there's nothing that Ucal can do to get away from that one. Big time knock up on the sword now. He's not going to be able to survive 3-on-1, and Viper just has to run away. And so you get the 1-for-1, but they were trapped in the jungle, and Gen.G were able to take him out.
And I mean, at this point, it really is all that she wrote. Just like game number 1, the Syndra did not get ahead. And so when that was the only real out for Griffon, assuming normal things will occur, Gen.G's team composition is just going to come online. It's going to roll you right over again. And BDD, I think, is building towards Rabadon's death cap.
Ooh!
I am, honestly, this is the day of LCK for me. As Brad takes a magical journey right through.
God, he's such a Chad.
Yeah.
Look at this. He's so low for so long, he just turns around and bobs the Braum.
The Ornn Horn comes out. Tarzan goes golden set. Doesn't have a champion that he can go onto from this angle anyway, and especially not when he's behind. And so the only real options for him anyway are Ornn and Jarvan, or Ornn and Rek'Sai. And the other champions do such a good job at locking him up and creating problems for him. The Aphelio, Zoe, and Brad. I'm gonna push.
Goodbye. Goodbye, nice. Bye. Nice. No heal, no heal, no heal.
No heal.
I like his nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his nice.
Have you ever watched Key and Peele Noise?
Yes, actually. I think you might have been the one that showed that to me.
Noise.
Yeah.
Oh, bit of a thief.
Oh, Brad! Oh, I'm getting all hot and bothered now, Brad. Look at Kellin go. Why don't we get more Brad in the LCK? This guy's awesome.
Look at him. Where do you think Brad's going? Oh, man. Look at his hot cocoa.
Oh, man. He definitely hangs out with all the hottest dudes.
Yeah. He definitely. Oh, man. It's definitely Brad from high school.
Yeah.
As Rabadon's death cap probably going to be completed here soon. Ornament's going to start coming in hot as well. Black Cleaver already completed for the Rek'Sai. Deathcap is going to bring Zoe to effectively 3 items. Just off Ornn upgrading it. So
how do you feel about her 0 penetration, though?
She's going to build a Void Staff. So this is
3rd
totally
item.
Fine. Now, also, if you've never played with Ornn, or if you do play Ornn, make sure to tell your teammates or do it yourself. Move your... I was just about to talk about it. Move the death cap to item slot 1, and it'll get upgraded over the Ludens.
Yeah, well, too late for that one, and might be too late for Sword. As, well, he's going to be killed from the ground. Gets caught in his, well, it's not his jungle, it's actually Gen.G's jungle, and down he goes.
Ornn upgrades the furthest most left item in your inventory. So you need to move the death cap to the left of Ludens, and you'll get the upgrade. And so by not doing that, BDD has actually just lost a lot of AP. So very
that could be
unfortunate.
Game-changing. I mean, it probably won't in this case.
There was a instance, I believe in the LEC, where the AP ratio difference would have mattered on a kill.
Yeah.
And that was very surprising. Yeah. So even if it doesn't matter in this game, it's still not a reason not to do it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you always got to min-max. Don't be lazy. Buy your wards. Place your Ornn items in the right spot. Do the right thing. As we'll get there eventually. We got Redemption. It's the only real item here for Brad so far. We'll see if that gets upgraded. Total gold. It is going to be Viper in 2nd, and then 4 other members of Gen.G ahead or right below him.
And at this point, it's just going to be a bit of a waiting game until the next dragon comes up, unless the Zoe Bubble Trouble hits or a Brad ultimate. And it's just honestly waiting at this point. Black Cleaver upgraded now as well. Ruler not going to have an Ornn item for a while, but that's okay. Ornn is able to build it.
Yeah.
He has built the Redemption.
You're just taking a closer look there at the upgraded Black Cleaver.
The Obsidian Cleaver. It actually looks really cool. There's something about the hue.
Yeah. It's kind of like a shiny Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it really does look like a shiny Pokemon Black Cleaver.
That's what
Which, by the way, the new Pokemon comes out in 4 months.
But I thought the last one got like really bad reception.
What?
Right?
Did it? I don't think so.
Wasn't that the one with like the Pokedex thing?
Yeah, well, that's what the new Pokemon is. Look at these tunnels, man. This is an ant colony.
Yeah, the right side of the map.
Wow.
This is insanely lit up right now.
That is a beautiful shot. That honestly looks like a pyramid. Almost of sorts.
Is he Illuminati? Oh my god. Oh my god. It's him and Brad.
I think we found out.
I knew there was a reason they were just so awesome. All right, this
is a bad angle.
Might be pinched here, Rascal.
Oh, now it's good.
They're gonna get the sleep here onto the Braum, but he gets hit from the side. BDD taking a lot of damage. They get the knock up onto the Syndra, but there's really no way for Gen.G to enter the fight. How about now, though? BDD popping off. Able to thread the needle there. Hits Ucal through a lot of people, and now they're gonna be able to push the turret.
Now at this point, it really is a slow rinse, wash, repeat. These have been, this really has been the cleanest game. Or, well, the series has been the cleanest display, I think, of any LCK team so far.
Yeah, it's really methodical. And just, you can tell there's like, they're playing with confidence. There's no rushing involved. It is not going for the kill there. A lesser jungle may have stuck around and gone for that one, but they do not need to. Gen.G is better than that. And now we are going to be, again, kind of sitting here waiting for the next dragon. We got 3.5 minutes. We do have the Baron available, but the Baron is no longer that end-all be-all buff. And so nobody's really going to make a big play towards that. If anything, we will have a big team fight around the Dragon Soul, the Infernal Dragon Soul. That's a lot of fun for a Zoe, especially.
Yeah.
You're going to be bopping people.
Yes, and honestly, it's the best possible soul for this team to get outside of Ocean, which isn't available.
Yeah.
Mountain, not super valuable for a team that is just trying to mainly poke and everything. I guess it does matter if the enemy tries to pull the trigger, but there's ways to poke and whittle down the shield and whatnot, so I think the Infernal in the Ocean is definitely a lot more valuable. And Cloud Soul would obviously be the worst. So Ornn probably about to hit level 15, and once he does, he'll upgrade Bard's Redemption. As Sword doesn't really have anything to do. Full tank Jarvan doesn't really do anything either. And so it's mostly MF and Syndra versus the entire planet. Bard is a non-factor. Isn't it great? It's really cool. I think it's awesome.
Bard?
Or not Bard, Braum.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was going to say, like,
Jeez.
how dare you say that about
I'm
Brad?
glad that I was testing you.
Oh, man. I mean, they do have similar names, but Bard's name is obviously cooler. As here we go, they're going to find Ucal. They could line this up. They're not going to go for it, though. Again, very, very calm. They're not forcing anything. Then look at Clid's position now. He's considering coming in from behind. He's not going to. Sets up another tunnel. Kind of looks like they're corralling Griffon.
Yeah.
Over here to the right side. Exhaust is going to come down. We do have the Ornn in the front, but he's super tanky. Does get denied there. And all Gen.G have to do is they don't have to take a fight. If they did, they probably would win, but they don't have to. So they'll just poke you down. They'll clear the wave with Zoe. Let BDD do his thing. And Irove, you can see that he's pretty chunked right now. You can get a couple more. I'm not sure about that one, Clid. A couple more hits with some Trouble Bubbles or Pal Stars. Could have some fun times for Gen.G.
Well, 50 seconds now until checkmate can end up coming via the Infernal Soul. Now, normally I'll talk about how Elder can be a way back in for the losing team, but I feel like the overall advantage with an Infernal Soul, it would really take a miracle for Griffon to even get into a position to get a hold of that Elder.
Yeah, I mean, you could just deny vision, and Zoe by herself could probably deny you entrance into that area. It's going to be incredibly difficult for any kind of flank teleport ward to be placed down, just given the fact that Gen.G are in the position that they are in right now. You can see Sword is trying to position himself for a flank. As you can see, trying to come in from behind. They should know about this. Irove is incredibly low already. They're trying to turn here. Ruler is going to just be saved by Mr. Brad. Is going to try to flash away, but big bullet time this time around by MF. And the hard engage by Griffon. They may have found an opportunity here. They're flashing on in. They're going to find Bard in this one. And a double kill for MF means that now Griffon will be able to pick up this Drake and deny the soul for yet another 5 minutes.
Oh. And that's a very big win, and it comes at such a clutch timing. Now, only 20 seconds on the death timer, so that's why you're not seeing Griffon barrel down over to the Baron, because with the Magical Journey and Home Guard available, Ruler and Kellin would both be able to get there. And let's just see how this all basically started. This is a super insane engage by Sword that is so unnatural to be able to get a hold of Ruler like that, and then wombo combo the MF ultimate. Like, yeah, just do it, forehead. But it ended up happening. Gen.G's positioning, getting flanked and whatnot, has ended up costing them, and interestingly enough, it was Griffon who held such superior states of the game against their opponents earlier this week, and then ended up losing in very similar fashion. So the game is, it's hanging on a thread right now for Griffon.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get more fights like that, then perhaps they could make it work, but I feel like that's kind of a one-and-done kind of thing. Gen.G, I could have sworn they saw the ward go down in the Dragon Pit, which would have made you think, hey, there's probably a guy over there, but I suppose they did not see that ward come down. So Sword was able to pull that one off. And, I mean, that's kind of what Griffon's comp is going for, right? They have the ability to wombo combo pretty nicely with Jarvan, MF, and Set. If he can get a nice flank and isolate one person, can make it work. But once again, I'm gonna have to wait about 3 minutes. This is weird how the meta, you know, dragons maybe unintentionally, especially dragon souls, I should say, unintentionally became so strong that now you're kind of just like waiting in between dragon fights, especially here in the LCK with Gen.G.
Yeah, dragon souls are really the ones, but the first two dragons are, they're
just up in the air.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And now Infinity Edge completed. Ornn is also level 16, so hopefully he... All right, I think he's going over right now. He's about to tap the workshop, get ready for the Infinity Edge. Here comes the Molten Core.
Molten Core?
Yeah, it's on the minimap. You can see Ornn building it. He's hugging Aphelios. Get over there and give Brad... Rascal. This little Rascal over here. He's not even...
Yeah.
This is honestly a little... This is upsetting.
A bit disappointing.
Although maybe they're waiting for Locket completion in order to upgrade that instead. That would be surprising though, because if they could communicate to one another about the Ornn upgrades and how to do them, I don't think that we would have seen the Luden's mistake.
Well, maybe because of the Luden's mistake, they're like, let's be extra careful.
Oh, that is...
You know? There's also that kind of,
well,
you know, you didn't think about that one, right?
That's why you are the play-by-play. Yeah. All right, for the pick-by-pick.
I get it.
Yeah.
I play the game, and I by-play it as well.
Hello.
Whoa. And, yeah, I mean, it's really close to that Locket, so might as well, if you are waiting, pick that up. Griffon had decided maybe we'll fight before the dragon. It's a lot of posturing, you know. If they can gain ground here in the middle of the map, that will be really great going into the fight.
It's really strange to me that Viper just taking all of the mid farm when Syndra's in such close proximity, because Syndra's the one that needs the major item completion on that Rabadon's before this next fight, and I'm not sure how close Ucal actually is. Let's see if he channels a recall after this. And if he does...
God, Sword. Please
Alright,
hit a cannon.
he's not doing it.
It's like cannon number 5.
He's missed?
Yeah.
It's whatever.
He misses them in really obvious ways, too.
He doesn't want the cannons. That's not his favorite.
That's too good for them?
That's actually not his favorite piece to have in Risk.
Okay. Cannons are 2019.
Yeah. Correct.
I see. Okay.
Can we upgrade the Ornn? Because this is the ending team fight.
Yeah, I mean,
and honestly, if Sword gets okay, wait, Sword might get picked off here. Wait, what?
Okay, gonna land a bubble.
They could just kill him, and then they can use Bard ultimate. I don't quite understand why Sword was just allowed to live, because they had the Tremor Sense. They knew about him.
Well, they should know where he is now. Smite does come down, slowing him and trying to make him fight this fight. But look at Griffon; they're gonna get there much faster, and they have control of the river right now. A lot of room, though. Ucal is going to be in that for quite a while. Able to lock it up. Irove getting extremely low, but has that stopwatch. Rascal still in the front. Tarzan looking for the engage. Does not find it. He gets burst and put to shreds. As Sword is going in too, but he's all alone. Is going to be able to take out the Ornn, though. And so it's a 1-for-1. BDD having trouble landing this, but he should be able to land this one. Nice unbreakable. Viper going nuts. He's going forward. He takes out BDD. He's able to cleanse, but he's not going to be able to live. As Clid will be able to take him out on the backside. As the Rek'Sai comes back to haunt you in your nightmares at the end of the team
And that was way too close for comfort. Rascal almost single-handedly losing Gen.G the team fight. And we'll talk about how and why inside of this. Replay, once we get to it, 6-9 is the score right now. As Clid and Ruler are looking to raise this mid-tier 3 turret. They're going to get this inhibitor. Aphelios doing a lot of things right now. Has the Infernal Soul. It's going to be really hard to lose that next team fight. interestingly enough, the Redemption and the Locket did change places.
They did.
In Bard's inventory,
You know?
so maybe that is what they're going to try to do. So, once we take a look at the replay, which we might not get until after this fight, because I don't know why, but Gen.G are bursting. They're
All
just
right,
gonna flip.
Tarzan.
What? No, no, they're not.
Nope. Okay. Tarzan decides, no, I mean, my life is more important than the Baron. Now, he was down 3 levels, so it is kind of
He's down
hard to
3
get
levels, and the other thing that I'm trying to think of
and
is
Rascal probably at Smite.
if Bard Temper Fates one Nexus turret, can they end? And okay, so right here, pay attention to this really quickly. Braum uses his ultimate right away, goes golden, and then after this, Braum gets away, and Rascal waits an eternity to just do certain things, but also ultimate cast really, really, really late. And even if Bard, or even if Braum, you're anticipating something inside of the team fight for him to use his shield, cast it at a really weird angle.
Clid is so
And everything,
good,
Clid finds his way into the backline, and he really saves this fight along with Ruler.
It's really all him, though. Got into the back line, assassinated Ucal, assassinated Viper, who had moved forward. Just that really sneaky maneuver to come around the back side of the fight. They had no idea he was there. And so now Griffon decide, okay, they were thinking about pushing down, but then they say, no, we probably can't actually push as fast. And so they are maneuvering to come on up to the top side and defend. Sword on Vision now, though.
That was a very far...
Well, they do get him to move back, but, I mean, with Braum over here, you're really not going to be able to catch that guy.
Now they're just trying to execute a 4-1-0 in order to try to close out this game. They're having the Rek'Sai with the Baron buff escort the minions in mid. Now they're about to push up into top. Bard ultimate still ways away to coming up, but Braum is separated from Syndra.
BDD had a great early and mid game, but he hasn't really been having
Warren
to pop off.
Hasn't upgraded.
Yeah, I don't know, he's busy.
And also, when he's out of combat with Bard, it's pointing lines at him, telling him that he can upgrade. So,
Yeah.
I think a little bit of lost sight might be going on here.
Potentially. Not sure what's going on there, and this is what I was talking about. I feel like BDD should really be lining him up and taking him down. He was very effective early on in the game, but so far in these later team fights hasn't been lighting people up as much. He's going to move towards mid side. They don't get the inhibitor. They're still just trying to maneuver. They get the turret. They're going to be happy with that instead. Okay, they found Ucal. Are they going to go in on this one? Big time knockup, but where is the damage? He is going to get away. BDD went way too far in the backside there, but he is going to survive somehow, some way with the heal. As Set not able to do anything either. Aphelios just able to lock them all down as finally BDD is going to pop one of the members. Gen.G will end up taking this game in 39 minutes. Very meticulous, very methodical, very Gen.G. This is what we know and love as Ruler. Viper trying to bait them into a fight here, saying let's go, but that's going to be it. GG, Gen.G will pick up the 2-0 in tonight's best of 3 up against Griffon.
Yeah, and it feels really good if you're Gen.G, because this was one of, I mean, I think it's the cleanest series that we've had in terms of actual macro level play that doesn't have variance or anything of that nature going on, and so it's really nice to see this kind of game end up happening. Nahyun coming out on stage, and Tarzan does not look like he is yeah, not happy.
It's rough. He wasn't really able to get anything going in games 1 or 2. He had a couple of okay cataclysms there in that second game on the Jarvan, but he wasn't really having his pop-off, 5-head jungle moments that we're used to. And part of that is draft, part of that is the way that the lanes are going. We talked all about that in game 1. But Gen.G, I mean, we should talk a lot about them because they deserve a lot of praise after this game specifically. They just really look very clean in their straightforward, methodical play and their nice scaling drafts.
Yeah. So hopefully this is not just a fluke. Hopefully we do get to see more of this in coming weeks, as it would definitely be very nice to see. This kind of a series would live up to the hype of what many people would have expected. Even though it didn't have any sort of Lane Kingdom type of dominance, it had the cleanest play that we've seen so far in the LCK 2020, and also even through Tespa Cup. And also remember, Gen.G was a part of the perfect game earlier this week.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah. Must be nice.
Must be nice
to have that kind of roster and that kind of drafting.
It's okay. You know?
Yeah. The roster.
Like
What do you think is better, the roster or the drafting?
The drafting.
Drafting for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
It's quite nice.
Yeah. Really gotta hand it to them.
Take a look at some of the highlights here. Nice Ornn knock up right there onto Sword. Ends up getting superplexed right into the Jarvan Cataclysm wall. That has to hurt. Okay, I'm not quite sure how you pick up Ornn. He is quite heavy, but
BDD accidentally stopwatched in that fight. That looked weird.
Sword getting knocked up right there. And Ornn and Rek'Sai just doing things. Ornn and what? Rek'Sai and Bard.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am.
It's day 4.
Stop.
You have another day.
Right. Ornn ultimate blocked there by Irove on the Braum. And this was the fight that was, honestly, it's an unrealistic approach. This is one of those things that I was talking about where at this level, it is so unfathomable to see stuff like this end up happening. And it took that to turn a fight. So, in this highlight right here, Set superplexing and Clid eventually going around for the flank. And, you know, BDD really did put in a lot of work as well. Ruler uses the heal right at the very end there, flashes backwards. Viper trying his best, but not able to. We're going to go into team voice really quick.
걸렸다. 힘들어. 지게 할게. 할게. 소박이 하나 더, 소박이 하나 더. 앞라면서. 시간 높을. 잡아줘. 딜 못해. 딜러 딜 못해. 소박이. 나이스. 앞에부터 세트. 나이스. 아, 천천히.
Slowly.
끝내자.
And there they said nice.
굿바이. 룰러. 굿바이. 알았어. 죽여놔. 죽여놔. 룰러. 너 룰러야. 됐어 막. 너 클리드야.
Some other stuff that they did mention there was BDD was just spamming saying, you know, look at me, take care of me when he was being piled on there. Also the setup for the knockup after Kellin did land that Bard ultimate. Nicely done. I mean, this is one of the teams that talks the most for sure. So it's cool to listen in and hear what they have to say. MF did a lot of damage, but the gold graph really does tell the story of the way that the game did go. There was that one tiny little hiccup that you can see there at about 27 minutes, but other than that, all Gen.G all the way. Very clean showing. We were talking about how this means a lot for Griffon, and it's because we're not really sure what to expect from their team, but honestly, they kind of got clapped tonight by Gen.G.
Yeah, they really did. And Griffon continues on to their loss streak, and obviously, the players don't look very happy every time they're in.
I mean, if you're losing, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah,
right?
Obviously. Tarzan obviously looking very frustrated.
Yeah.
And also, taking a look now at the player of the game, it will be Clid in the jungle now, 200 points.
Yeah, picks that one up. This was another game where it did feel like a team effort overall, but Clid was really the one that got it going here, was in the right position with Tremor Sense, finds Ucal, and that, you know, we were talking about how one of the keys to the game here for Griffon was to get their mid lane going. That did not happen because of Clid. And one of the main reasons I voted for him was his performance in team fights. In this sense, he found another pick onto Sword here. Just little things like this. And then, of course, the team fight where he came from behind and assassinated this one.
Yep. Got right on to Ucal, and there was just really not much that could be done here.
Yeah.
As they clean it up. So we're going to hear from him in the MVP interview.
That we will. Clid and Kellin. Looks like Kellin with that standout performance on the Taric in Game 1. Really got to hand it to him. 5 out of 12 votes. But we are going to hear from him anyway, alongside Clid, and we'll have to see what they do say. If, you know, you were talking about Griffon kind of down in the dumps, Gen.G should be very ecstatic, excited with the way things are looking to the start of their season. Wasn't sure about that first game against KT, but then once they turned that around, it's been looking up so far here in Week 1. So they are going up against Daewon next week, so that'll be fun. But I'm going to hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season with the English translation, and let's hear from Kellin and Clid from Gen.G picking up 2-0 victory tonight. Kellin, this is your first POG ever. 2020, February 8th. How are you feeling right now? This is my first experience, so I'm really happy. So, your previous match was your first win, and this time this is your first POG. Well, the teammates were celebrating it together with me. And also, the people at our team working for us also celebrated our first win. And Clid, POG for 2 times in a row. Are you satisfied with your performance? I think we are cleaner and we improved our performance. Yeah, I'm kind of satisfied. Yeah, I mean last time BDD, Clid both mentioned the game was not satisfying. We kind of executed the play style we wanted, and we did it really cleanly. So yeah, we are very satisfied today. Kellin, in the previous KT match and today, you guys went with very similar competition, Kalista and Taric. Did you guys plan it in advance, or was that like compromised during the pick and bans? Kalista Taric is a really powerful champ, and both Ruler and I are good at those champions. Is that one of the Gen.G's winning recipe? We got plenty more. And the last pick for Griffon was Nami, which is not a very mainstream champion. We didn't make any comment about Nami. We just said let's go ahead, let's have a lot of pressure during the laning phase and get a kill in level 6. Then who made this call for this invade? I think I did, because I had her in vision, so I called my teammates to go for it. And after this kill point, Gen.G was accelerating the lead. Did you expect that this would snowball this hard? Well, during the pick and bans, well, Griffon took champions that needed a lot of priority in the laning phase, but they made a big mistake in level 1, so I think it was really an effective point over there. But we played a bit slowly because game number 1, mid and jungle both have priority, so but we let the opponent take the turret plate gold, so we should improve on that. So we focus a little bit on farming, so we both were playing a little bit defensively. And Kellin, Bard. 2 Bard games so far. I've practiced Bard quite a lot. It's been before this, but I did not really use it during the screens, but I saw the perfect angle today. And Clid, with their victory, Rek'Sai is on a 5-1 record so far. Why is Rek'Sai so strong? Well, Rek'Sai is a very strong AD damage jungler, so it's also easier to get the priority in the early phase of the game. But we have another highlight with their Rek'Sai play with this awesome flank angle. We were actually doing damage on the front line, but they managed to come in a nice angle, so our players were having getting a lot of damage. So I told my teammates to watch for me. So I was able to go for a nice flank there. Why did you decide to re-engage? I had GA, I had flash, and I knew that the enemies didn't know where I was at. They were a bit flustered, so I could catch shots, so I was confident enough to re-engage on them. So you were trying a lot of flank angles, you were playing a bit isolated. Why was that? Rek'Sai is really good at split push, and you can group up with your teammates really fast, and also I can like 1v1 with top laners, so I tried to kind of play alone in the side lane as well. Clid, what's your goal for the split then? Kellin, I won a trophy with my teammates. Clid, would you like to give him a help? Any message for Kellin? So Kellin joined our team. He's the youngest member, so we're gonna take a good care of him, and we want to reach further with all together. Congratulations on your win, and this will be the end of the interview. Kellin, Clid from Gen.G. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sung, for the awesome translation, as always. Hearts out in the chat. But anyway, guys, that was a really nice game there by Gen.G. I was really impressed. Good stuff. Now, what do we have next on the slate for tomorrow? We have Sandbox versus Dragon X. That's a nice little game that we have next. And Afrika versus Hamalife is also actually really nice, especially with Hamalife proving.
Those are some bangers.
Yeah, that's a big day. I'm jealous. How's your voice doing, LS?
My voice is. I'm gonna be just fine with these honey teas.
Okay.
Okay.
What if there's all of a sudden no more honey tea left in the entire studio?
I will. It's fine. Alice is gonna.
I might have to, slide
in there. Yeah. Standings.
Yeah, it's a really great
now
day, though, for
at
sure.
the top. Damwon gonna have to wait and see what happens to Dragon X tomorrow, as that's gonna be an exciting game with also Afrika versus Hamalife. Gonna be another big one that's gonna cause some swings in the standings. So, Afrika, what are they gonna do against Hamalife? Are we gonna see Soraka again? Please say yes.
Yes.
And Sandbox versus Dragon X is also gonna be really, really nice, because will Chovy be starting? And if he is, we get to see, I don't know, Lance versus Red or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
We get to
it
see
depends
Summit
on like
versus
what level
Chovy.
of the Elite 3 Summit is in, but I think it might be that matchup.
It definitely could be.
I think I read something, maybe it was Ashley Kong or someone did an interview where Chovy was actually like a really comfortable top laner, so we might see more and more of Chovy in the top lane. Anyway, you guys can find out tomorrow if that does happen. Sandbox versus Dragon X, and then Afrika versus Hamalife, which Hamalife right now is actually on the up and up, so make sure you catch those days. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.